Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the United Kingdom. And today I'm working with Jar of Flowers and the new in colours as well. So I really want to talk about Jar of Flowers. Is a lovely stamp set that has these sort of 4 blooms for kind of representing the 4 different seasons, and it coordinates with the fabulous jar punch as a bundle, so you get 10% off, and it enables you to make these fabulous little mason jar type effects by punching it out, but also you can get these lovely little mason jar domes, so you can make shaker cards. So I thought we'd have a bit of fun making a shaker card using the domes today. So we're going to use one of those, and they're self-adhesive, so there's you can literally take it, attach it on the outside and attach it at the back to make that really easy for you, and you can see it just fits perfectly. And I'm also going to be using in colours, which this is a lovely in colour ribbon, comes in all 5 of the new in colours, which I've got here with the markers. So I'm going to use markers today, really inexpensive way if you're starting out and you're just starting out with colouring, because you get all 5 of the in colours, and it's really easy still to be able to do some layering of colour on those as well. So that's what we're going to be using, and we're making this pretty shaker card here, and I've actually used the new confetti flower punch for that as well, but what I thought I'd do is I'm going to use up some of my old sequins. I'm not a great sequin user, so I have got some sequins which I thought these ones, particularly with the metallics, would go perfectly in there as well and add a bit of extra sparkle. I'm using, as you can see here, the In Colour Designer Series paper, which is 6x6, and you get both sheets of patterns in all 5 colours. So on the one side you've got this lovely kind of textured effect and some dots which have got stripes in, a wood grain and type text, and you get those in all of the colours. So you can see they're a real sort of choice, that lovely magenta. And I've used the bumblebee to go with that, so that's what we're going to use today. So I'm going to pop some of these things to one side and let's get started. So to start off with, you're going to need to create a card base. So I've just created a 10-fold card base, which is 29 centimetres by 10.5, and I've scored that at 14.5 centimetres. So that's 4 1/8 by 11 3/4, which is then scored at 5 7/8. Thereabouts. I'll pop the measurements on there, and then I've taken a panel of my bumblebee, and that's just 0.5 centimetre smaller, so 10 by 14 centimetres, and I've gutted that at 2 centimetres as well. And there's a reason for that, and that's to make it easier for us to punch as well as saving on card. This is my thick Whisper White, by the way, so it's really nice sturdy card base. So with my Designer Series paper, so all I'm going to do is just add a little glue, and let me grab the lump, okay, just around the outside of the paper. And just remember, when you're using Tombow, it's as if you're drawing with it, so you don't want to big blobs, you just want to kind of draw around the edge like so, and then that can go straight onto there as a layer. And then what we're going to do next is come in, centre our punch, and you'll see by gutting it, most of that is cutting through paper, so it makes it much easier to punch through. And then we've got our layer. So I'm now going to use just a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp my different elements. So there's my I'm losing my words and I'm losing my stamps. Okay, so I'm using Memento ink because I'm going to be doing some colouring. It just creates a really nice outline. Now, because we're using a photopolymer stamp set, it's always best if you can pop that onto a stamping pierce mat. And the reason for that is it adds the cushioning in that gives you a nice crisp image. So I'm not doing it right on the edge because I'm going to want to cut round and have space for my other elements to actually stick my mason jar. I'm going to do, in this instance, I'm just going to add the stalks in black, like so. You can colour those if you want to as well. And then to fill the jar, or half fill it with water, I'm just using my Pool Party. And these are reversible, so I've used the reverse of the half jar size. Just add my layer of water. And as I said, what you can do is now come in, because these are all water-based, so you're not going to damage anything, and just pop in, and I'm just going to use my brush end. Just colour those stems in. Just makes them look more realistic than just having those sort of outlines. And I'm not worrying too much about coming up into the neck of the jar because that's going to be covered up by my ribbon. So there we go, there's our jar. So now what we need to do is add in our little elements. Now I have already punched out some of my elements. So I've just used my confetti border punch. It will come out. Here we go. Right. To punch out some flowers. And I've punched those out a mixture of DSP and my card. So I'm putting a little pile of those in there. I'm going to keep all those into the middle, and I'm just going to add a little sprinkle of my sequins as well. And again, just to pile those up into the middle there. And then I can just take off, undo that layer on the back. You see there, it just peels away really easily. And then as long as everything is within the layer, just line that up like so. Now that that's stuck down, just come in with your snips, and I'm just going to use the outline like this. So obviously if you've got the blends, you could use your blends for colouring. With Memento that's perfectly safe, but I thought it'd be really great to use my markers. And then you can see, and I've got some stuck on the edge, hey, never mind. So there you've got a few sparkles and really sort of fun element there for your card. I'm going to use my Memento now to stamp a couple of things. I'm going to stamp my sunflower image on here, again using the stamping pierce mat. Ink it up really well all over, and then down and up, and then I'm going to just ink up one of the corners with this sort of whole image on this left hand side here, and just come in with that as a whole image, because I'm just going to raise that up as well. Now, once you've done that, you're going to take your markers. So with your markers, as I said, you get all 5 colours of the in colours in each of those. So my centres, I'm using my cinnamon cider. I just wanted to show that, you know, you don't need to use loads of colours for these. So I'm using my cinnamon cider for those centres, kind of represent those sunflower centres. And then Bumblebee is perfect to colour those leaves. And so I'm just using the brush tip. And I'll just show you on one of these how I'm colouring. So I'm going round first, just in a single layer. And brushing those tips in. And I do all of my flowers at this point to allow that colour to dry. The things with markers, unlike blends where you need it, where you tend to work with it while it's wet, to get depth of colour with a marker you need to wait till that layer has dried. so you can then come in and layer the colour on top. So just a slight difference with working. Obviously when you're using blends you can come in when it's dry as well, but this way we can then come in and add where those little bits of markings are in the stamp. I'm just coming over and brushing over those, and you can just see it gives a slight just depth of colour to add to our effect. Then I've just used all the remaining colours in the stamp set to come in with those as well. So obviously I've used the Just Jade already on my stalks, so I'm adding this magenta. It's a really strong, sort of almost a neon sort of pink. You either like it or you won't. It's probably not a colour I would normally use because it's so sort of neon, but actually when it dries it does dry slightly lighter. So what I'm doing is I'm colouring in the leaves here, and then with this bit here, which is, reminds me of a bit of an agapanthus with these leaves. So I'm just coming in and colouring the leaves, and I'm just kind of dotting that and adding in a bit of blue as well on those. And then these remind me of lupins here, so I'm sort of adding the sort of blue in there. So just come in and colour whatever you want, and do the same on your single image. And when you've done that, fussy cut that out. So you can see I've fussy cut that here. And what you also want to do is do the same with your single flower as well, just to give a bit of depth. And when I've cut my single flower out, where there are you can see here where there are sort of petals that are hidden behind the others, I'm just going to cut those out, because that will help with the 3D effect. So actually what you're doing is you're really looking at which bit of the flower, and it's kind of like the decoupage idea, looking at the bits which are hidden, and those ones will allow the one behind to take shape. So there we go, like so. That's very simple to add, just the use of a dimensional on the back there. I mean, I'm just using a mini dimensional. You can shape that a bit if you wanted to, so if you wanted to add a bit of shaping, go around with those petals. And then all I'm going to do is then just line that up, and you can see, so where you get more of a sort of 3D effect, you can see those other flowers coming through. And that's ready to go onto our card. So if we grab our card base, the next thing to do is to add this panel behind. So you're taking the top layer off, and then just, oh, no, almost forgot, add my ribbon. So what you want to do is cut a small piece of ribbon to lie across there, and if you just pop it down with your nail on either side and trim. Then we can pop that through. Oh, that was close. And I find it easiest just to come down from the top here. So you can see we've got our little ribbon trim there. And then we're going to create a bow. So just one way of doing a bow, make 2 bunny ears, and then you're just going to just tie those together. So 2 flat bunny ears, cross over and through the middle. And then you just need to gradually tighten that bow down to the size that you want it. And obviously we don't want it too big on this bow, And then once you've done that, come in with your snips and just trim afterwards. So that helps minimise any wastage of ribbon. And I'm just going to attach that to the front with a glue dot. Fabulous Stampin' Up! Glue dots, really strong. And I just use a piece of ribbon just to keep that end tight. So decide which is going to be the front of your little bow and add that on. Okay. Now we can add our flowers, and again I'm just going to pop that up on dimensionals, reaching across my dimensionals, and just pop that on there. And that just helps, because of the 3D effect, you're not worrying about any of that. So add our flowers in there. All we're going to do now is add our panel, and because that's we've gutted that recess is behind, you could pop that up on dimensionals if you wanted to, and nothing wrong with that. Or you could add some strips. I'm just going to put it down flat, just to help to ensure the integrity of the card. And just add that glue. And I'm probably adding a little bit more than I would normally, because we've got a bit of dimension there. But that goes straight onto the front of our card. Just press that down, and there we have a lovely sunflower shaker card, ready to send or gift away to somebody. So, bit of fun, quick and easy card for you, and just a way of using your markers to create some lovely dimension. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, or find me as Heidi Smith, Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'd love it if you chose me as your demonstrator, so I can send you a thank you card. Thanks for watching. Bye.